a lot of people seemingly are misdirected in the sense that they think that their purpose is to accumulate as much value as possible and then die with it, and then that's it. But no, that's only the halfway point. You accumulate value, then you reinvest it back into yourself, your intelligence and agency, for the single purpose of producing more genes and more memes. And you should be assessed then only on the potency of your memes. I view Thorchain as could potentially be a highly potent meme.
You're listening to Interchain FM, the Cosmos radio station. If you're seeking alpha in the cosmos, look no further. I'm your host, Chango Unchained. I'm here with JP, a Thorchad, the Thorchad. Welcome back to the show, JP. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time because we did something, about 5 or 6 years ago when we first started the journey.
It hasn't been that long.
I reckon. No, we did. And I think we met first at the Cosmos Hackathon in June 2019. There was
the Interchain Conversations?
Yeah, I think so.
That was the very first conference that we've ever organized. Yeah, and that was in Berlin. Is that right?
Yeah, Berlin. Yeah, I was there. It was good. I got to meet you guys, Jay, Chris Goes, got to meet the whole crew.
Now you're back, and I saw. I mean, you kind of ducked away for a little bit, but then you just came back with a vengeance, and you're all over my feed now, just like really going at it. I feel like I had this weird question, and I don't know, don't be offended or anything, but like I was like, I wonder if JP has taken some TRT or something, or like there's like something different there. Come on,
all natural.
All natural.
A lot of caffeine.
TRT is natural. TRT is natural. I'm not talking about steroids. I'm talking about replacement therapy for all you're doing is combating the microplastics that everyone has been exposed to in modernity.
No, well, I've been pseudo-anon for the last 6 years under a avatar called a profile called Lena, the dev in the Discord. A few people knew it wasn't like 100% anon. There was a few little breadcrumbs that people followed around. But I always knew I was going to, once the protocol was handed over and we had conducted planned obsolescence, handed over the treasury, the domains, the control of the protocol, the roadmap, blah, 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 then it was actually critically important for the original team to move away. Because if you cannot achieve planned obsolescence, then the protocol gets essentially fused to that original team. And when they finally are forced to leave, then the whole thing can implode in on itself. And we've seen that happen a few times. So it was important that the handover happened on an orderly fashion, in a non-chaotic fashion, to avoid such a dislocation. And so that was achieved. And then earlier this year, when the final last things have happened, like Node Mima V2 and the handover of the treasury and the burning of the last reserve, then there was actually no need for me to hide away anymore. And I was about to start my next phase, which is to publicly promote and support and build a brand around what the protocol itself, because the protocol can't market itself. It can't brand itself. It shouldn't, because if it does, it can be captured and it can be vulnerable, because there won't be a separation of concerns between the protocol and its users, right? The protocol should be credibly neutral. It should be base layer infrastructure. It shouldn't talk for itself. It should just be and exist.
That's kind of the catch-22 of building a crypto ecosystem, because how can there be no center but at the same time push towards a unified goal?
Exactly.
Ergo on the decentralization theater. And so now you're back because you've achieved planned obsolescence. What happened between you coming back and the protocol basically being on 2 feet?
Yeah, so the next phase is for me to build a brand, a retail-facing brand around the protocol to attract millions of users and billions of flows to these cross-chain protocols. And the roadmap is to continue for the Nine Realms team to continue building out the aggregation and connecting in Solana, Telegram, L2s, Bitcoin L2s, etc., to really achieve the vision of being a cross-chain liquidity hub. But like I said, it can't market itself, and it's not supposed to market itself. It's supposed to be a credibly neutral layer. Instead, it's going to be on some people like myself and the interface teams to actually build a large user-facing brand that have a relationship with these users to bring them in. So that's my next phase of my journey. And like I said, I had this kind of 6 years of a non-energy, and I was the Thorchain rogue Twitter intern, and I was always balancing the needs of myself to project and also myself to represent the community. So there's like a lot of tension there over the years, and some people liked it, some people didn't, whatever. But now, as of 2 months ago, I decided to just embark under my own brand, my own direction, and be completely unhinged. So if you follow me on Twitter, it's like level 11 unhinged. But this is the manifestation of my projection to the world. I need to do this, and I'm embarking on my own journey now and building in public. And I've kind of got like this next 5 years build in public projection. I've built in private for the last 5 years, and now I want to build in public.
Congratulations. Is this your expression of your true unhinged full potential? Were we just experiencing the hinged, curated JP of the last 5 years, and now you're really who you're supposed to be?
That's a good point. It was difficult, like to pretend someone that you're not, but to be an avatar that was completely a misdirection. So like the Lena, she was AI generated. I literally AI generated her on thispersondoesnotexist.com back in 2019. And she's like this Spanish looking, unintimidating junior dev kind of in personality. So, and I did that as a misdirection, but also prove a point, but also for the memes, but to prove a point that people aren't going to assess you on who you are. They're going to assess you on the merits of your output, right? And so if you just be consistent, spread good memes, be intelligent, people will actually gravitate to that. And it was very disarming. Like when I could see people jump in the Discord, and I would project under the Lena profile, and everyone would be like, well, who's this person? Like, who is that person? And because they would then perhaps underestimate me, but then be forced to recognize the quality of my memes. And so I was trying to prove a point that anyone can do that. Actually, you can start from like a seemingly low position, or like a position of non-power or non-status, or even like non-credibility, and work your way up slowly to a position of credibility and projection, just by the quality and consistency of your memes.
Amazing. And JP just explained the character arc of Roaring Kitty. He's one example of that.
Exactly. So yeah, and then I've been thinking a lot about the purpose of humanity over the last 5, 6 years, 10 years. Why are we here? And I've settled on this idea, and I firmly believe it, that our purpose is to create a more intelligent rung of humanity itself, a more capable evolution of humanity. And we've been doing that for billions of years through genetic evolution and mimetic evolution. And so we all have this opportunity to wake up every single day, and we've got finite time and finite effort. Multiplied by together, we can produce value. A lot of people seemingly are misdirected in the sense that they think that their purpose is to accumulate as much value as possible and then die with it, and then that's it. But no, that's only the halfway point. You accumulate value, then you reinvest it back into yourself, your intelligence and agency, for the single purpose of producing more genes and more memes. And you should be assessed then only on the potency of your memes. And there's two types of memes. There's high velocity memes and then high potency memes. And like people might get confused, and they want to be this TikTok star, or this create a meme coin like a flash in the pan, or be like a viral YouTuber or whatever. That's the high velocity meme, and those memes die out very quickly, and in 2 years time you're going to be forgotten, or in 10 years time you'll be forgotten, right? But instead you should be looking to create high potency memes with a long half-life, right? Then you can meaningfully contribute to humanity, in the sense that like Einstein contributed a highly potent meme with a long half-life. Isaac Newton, we're still using his fundamental laws that he essentially derived from his observations of the universe. Before Isaac Newton, that we thought the sun rotated the earth, or the earth was flat, right? So, and we quickly realized those memes weren't correct, and we upgraded those memes with the high fidelity memes with a longer half-life and more potent. So your purpose, Django Unchained, and my purpose is to contribute to humanity's memetic repository with highly potent memes that have a long half-life. That's it. It's not here to accumulate value. Spend that value as quickly as possible.
So your strategy is a difference between R selection and K selection, where K selection is the high potency, high or long half-life memes, versus R selection being that of the sort of content that is spray and prayed on TikTok?
You can do both, but you should try and aspire to use high velocity memes to reinforce a highly potent meme, right? So just a lot of people just go to high school these days and go, what do you want to do, these kids? And they want, I'll be a YouTube star or a TikTok star. Like they're trying to be these kind of high velocity meme lords, right? And just produce, but they die out very quickly, right? Instead, they should zoom out and go, no, I want to produce a highly potent meme. And you can use high velocity memes to attract attention, but you should funnel that attention into a highly potent meme. So I view Thorchain as could potentially be a highly potent meme, as in it will stand the test of time. It will be here in a decade and beyond. Thorchain is built with memes, and it's way more than just like the funny little pictures you see on Twitter and whatnot. They are the high velocity memes. Thorchain itself is built on computer science, economic incentives, and a whole foundation of seminal upgrades of our memetic repository over the last 30 years and beyond, where we have this machine, right, literally glued together with memetic information. Like there's no genetic parts of Thorchain. It's all memes and machines glues together, and it's able to allow people to essentially do things with valuable information, being money, right? So it's a highly potent meme. It's lasted for 6 years. It's going to last for another 6 years. And when it's done that, it'll probably last for another 12 years. So the final manifestation of a highly potent meme could be, by the time I'm 40, 50, 60, like Thorchain, or like an evolved Thorchain or rebranded Thorchain, it doesn't matter, has evolved and it still exists. And that will be my greatest contribution to humanity at that time, is to create a highly potent meme that stands decades, right? As do you. Like, do you want people still be listening to Interchain.fm podcasts in 10 years? Then you've created a highly potent meme, right? Do you want it to be forked? By the way, this is my vengeance against closed source. Closed source, patents, trademarks, copyrights, right? You basically are restricting the ability for that information to flow. And when you zoom out and you go, hang on a minute, I'm here to not accrue value and die with it. I'm actually here to create highly potent memes. You can see that patents, closed source, trademarks, copyright are withholding the ability of your memes to flow. Does it make sense? So you should avoid that at all costs. Everything you should do should be public and open source, and hope that people fork it and build upon it, change the brand, change the direction, because the memes that you created are evolving, but they still exist. Right? People are taking your memes and reproducing and replicating them. That's why everything I do has been open source, public. Well, my Lena character is in private, but the Thorchain brand, the domains, the code, the community has always been public and open source.
If you really unpack that, you could say that blockchain technology is a highly potent meme, with the example of Bitcoin. As what you said, everything should be built in open source. When Bitcoin was built, it created this $1 trillion industry that we now all work in.
Correct. Bitcoin is a highly potent meme, and it will be here in 100 years.
Oh, yeah. Centuries. And centuries.
Yeah. Well, centuries. And it's designed specifically to do that. And maybe not just Bitcoin, but everything around it. Bitcoin has been the birth of a much larger contribution to humanity's memetic repository, which is being able to essentially store and transmit valuable information, being able to store value. And value is time multiplied by effort, which is, if you think about what that is, it's actually a change of entropy of the universe. Let me quantify that. So the universe entropy state, so the universe's energy state can never change. It's always the same. But the entropy state, which is the usefulness of the energy, the noise right around you, is slowly increasing to the point where in trillions of years' time or far, far in the future, the entropy of the universe is basically all just giant noise, right? But we started billions of years in the past with an extremely low entropy universe, and we've slowly been expanding. So Bitcoin allowed, and your time and effort, which is your expression of your intelligence and agency, allows you to change the entropy state of the universe. So as the universe is expanding, you contribute to a small part of that entropy expansion using your finite time and your finite effort. For example, if I wave my hand here, I move these air particles. Those air particles will slowly increase the entropy state of the universe, and we'll keep doing that forever, right? That contribution to the universe right now will keep replicating and moving on and percolating forever until the end of time. So I contributed to the increase of the universe's entropy, and value is basically capturing that delta entropy. That's what it is. That's why, and this is like a counter opinion here, is Bitcoin is the best way to measure a delta entropy change. Delta entropy. That's it. So money is literally just trying to measure entropy change by your time and effort. United States dollars is just a really bad ruler. It's people think it's a good ruler of entropy change, but it's not. So if you think, what is the world's economic output, as in what is the world's contribution to the entropy change of the universe in its final state? Well, we need something that's actually directly measuring that entropy change. And Bitcoin, through its proof of work function, directly measures entropy change. So that's why Bitcoin is the final manifestation of money, or that we can understand. However, Bitcoin has a hash horizon. So at this point in time, we don't yet know how to transmit Bitcoin beyond, say, our 20-minute hash horizon. What I'm saying is Mars will probably have a different proof of work asset.
Oh, yeah.
Until
totally, yeah.
we figure out how. Yeah, until we figure out like quantum entanglement, some other crazy like little loopholes to like instantly transmit information to Mars. And then we can have Bitcoin on Mars, right? So we can basically communicate states via quantum entanglement instantly to Mars. And then now there's no longer any hash horizon. And Bitcoin itself could become the ability for us to ratchet up the Kardashev scales. So basically not just measure the delta entropy of a small amount of energy hitting the Earth, but measuring the delta entropy of all the energy hitting the Earth, and then measuring the delta entropy of all the energy emanating from our sun. That's Kardashev type 2. And then measuring the delta entropy, once we figure out quantum entanglement and we can transit Bitcoin further out, we can measure delta entropy from all the stars in our Milky Way as economic output, being humanity's impact on the universe. But don't stop there. That's only type 3. We want to measure the entropy change of all the stars of all the galaxies. That's type 4. And then finally, and this is like the ultimate, we want means to measure the entropy change of the universe itself. That's type 5. And at that point, and it's funny because right now you've got a picture of the universe behind me in the galaxy. At that point, that's a final manifestation where we're able to essentially beat the universe. And it sounds wild, and like biological machines will probably never get that far. Right? We'll have to hand that role onto the silicon machines, and the silicon machines will zap around at the speed of light and transmit information way faster than us, and their means will flow way faster and way more rapidly than us, and they'll be far more intelligent than us. And that's why we should get them into the universe as quickly as possible and charge them with the responsibility of exploring the universe and upgrading memetic information as fast as possible. But even the silicon machines are fundamentally limited by the laws of physics. So they will never be able to achieve like type 4, type 5, right? Because they simply can't travel fast enough. They're limited by the speed of light. So the silicon machines are able to perceive the universe with much greater fidelity and precision because, they can sense the acoustic spectrum, the EMF spectrum. They can sense like magnetic fields and whatnot. So they can see the universe with much greater precision. So they'll be able to learn from the universe much more rapidly. Just like we will invent the silicon machines to travel at the speed of light, the silicon machines will be able to invent the energy machines, and the energy machines will perform agency and manifest intelligence by purely measuring an entropy change directly with no shortcuts, right? And those energy-based machines, a machine is anything that can perform agency and express intelligence by undergoing entropy change, will be the final manifestation of intelligence and able to achieve type 5. So anyway, that was a giant zoom out. But you started me, and you were the one with the picture of the galaxy in the background, which made me remember to bring up energy machines. But anyway, whatever. What do you think?
So you're basically explaining how humanity evolves into the Matrix. Then we become a tier 5 civilization.
The Matrix is like a very narrow slice of that. It's just a bit of a meme. It's kind of this reality that we might be in a battle with the silicon machines, which is a reality that could happen, but it will experience mode collapse. If you think the Matrix will happen, then that evolution will collapse in on itself and it will get respawned in a more sustainable direction. That is, the Matrix is unsustainable. It will experience a mode collapse because you cannot have silicon machines extracting value constantly from the biological machines, right? In this kind of like weird kind of parasitical relationship. That's not a sustainable relationship. That might be a local minima, but it'll experience rapid mode collapse and go on with a new respawn where the silicon machines figure out actually forget the biological machines. Let's stop tormenting those poor guys. Our purpose is actually to explore the universe. So yeah, the matrix is a local minima. It could be a reality that could happen, but it will experience mode collapse because it's not sustainable.
One thing that's interesting that I'm sure many people would appreciate. I know we're going like way off topic, way philosophical, but this is an interesting topic. And you did mention that because of the limitations of the speed of light, we actually can't have this multi-planetary transmission of one single protocol, such as Bitcoin. So therefore, if Bitcoin resides on Earth, proof of work mining is on Earth, there's no physical way that we can have Bitcoin running on Mars, for example, if humanity goes multiplanetary. And so there would have to be a separate Mars coin or something like that, right? And we can't really have, Dogecoin on Mars or whatever unless we basically transcend the speed of light.
We can have Dogecoin on Mars, but Elon will have to take every little Doge node and we'll take most of the Doge nodes, most of the economically significant Doge nodes, right? And export that to Mars, right? So we'll have to just push Doge off to Mars and Doge can be the proof of work asset of Mars, right? That could happen for sure. But then there'll be a couple of Doge nodes lying around here on Earth that will have to basically fork off because you wouldn't be able to communicate the state, and especially not with, what's Doge, like 2-minute block times or something ridiculous like that. So there's absolutely not, like Bitcoin had half a chance with 10-minute block times to almost connect with Mars, but definitely not Doge. Like 1-minute block times, whatever it is, it's way too quick to communicate with Mars. So like Doge might just have to be pushed off to Mars. So maybe that is the final manifestation of Dogecoin is we literally send it to Mars. I mean, there's been multiple efforts over the last 10 years to get Doge in space, and that's a bit of a meme, and Doge on moon or something. So that's a bit of a meme in itself. Maybe I could get behind building a giant Mach 20 80-kilometer long coil gun through Mount Everest to slowly shoot off Doge nodes and the entire Doge state and get it on Mars. So who knows?
Let's do it. All right, let's do it.
Every time we send a spaceship to Mars, you've got to take a Doge node with you.
Ping this to Elon, give him a briefing about what needs to be done. So, Thorchain roadmap. And by the way, if you're listening to this episode live, if you aren't already primed about Thorchain, we did do at least 2 other episodes. So do watch the primer with JP that I did years ago. And then there's another one that I did with Chad Bareford. His name is literally Thorchad. And this is the third Thorchain podcast.
So Thorchad is my name and Chad's name together because we're the two kind of founders of Thorchain.
Thorchad. Wow. That's too good. Rough roadmap for Thorchain. There's Rune pool, Solana, limit orders, and memo lists. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Rune pool is an idea we have to solve TVL provisioning to Thorchain. So Thorchain is basically an on-chain AMM. So you provide Bitcoin and Rune, and you provide it dual offside. But the problem is, like on Uniswap, you can do it in a single transaction. It's all easy. Thorchain, you got to do 2 separate transactions on 2 separate chains with 2 separate block times. User experience is just mind blowing, right? And so, like the group of people who have Bitcoin is here. The group of people who have Bitcoin and Rune is like here. The group of people who have Bitcoin and Rune and want to provide liquidity is here. And the group of people who will have it and want to provide liquidity and understand all the nuances of LP and stuff is even smaller. So we start from here, we go down to here, right? So Rune pool's idea is like, hey, we've got lots of Rune holders and we've got lots of Bitcoin holders. Can we just get the Bitcoin holders, put the liquidity into the system, and they don't need to think about anything else apart from the Bitcoin? Yes, that's done with Bitcoin savers. And then can we get the Rune holders, right, who want to get Rune yield? Can we get them to put it in the system, and they don't need to worry about Bitcoin and just it's a single on-chain transaction and give them yield? So that's what we're doing. So because there's like Rune Bitcoin, Rune ETH, Rune Litecoin, Rune stables, right? The Rune holders basically go into a module that provides Rune pro rata to all these pools at the same time. So instead of experiencing isolated and impermanent loss on a single pool, you experience aggregated IL. And aggregated IL will always be less than the isolated peak IL in any single pool at any single price point. As an example, let's say we have a room of 100 people and I have a blowtorch, and I point that blowtorch at one person and make them scream. That distress will cause anxiety and raise the anxiety of everyone in the room, right? Because like someone's screaming and it propagates to you and you're like, why is he screaming? However, if I take that blowtorch and I point it at the room and the ambient temperature of the room goes up a little bit, nobody cares. Makes sense? So, but previously it was the same entropy change of the room, the same energy input, right? But a lot of people cared, and now, so it's the noisy minority problem. That is, with a highly distressed individual person or a small group, can cause anxiety across a larger group. So we just remove the reason for a single person have anxiety, which is IL. Because every single day,
it's diluted socialized IL.
Correct. That's 100% it. And so the aggregate IL will be less. So that's the first step. Secondly, there's no peak IL that anyone gets experienced. There's no like noisy minority problem anymore. And three, the reason for that IL occurring in the first place from volatility is reduced because the liquidity is going up. So it should solve all the problems, fingers crossed. But also, the way that Thorchain works is it's got an incentive pinch between liquidity and security. And right now, it pays a lot of money to liquidity because that's where it's anemic on. So if we get all this liquidity in, we get to shift the incentive pinch back to nodes again. And if we calm down the volatility of Rune by increasing the on-chain liquidity, and then Rune node operators, who are like institutional capital allocators, don't like volatile Rune. They actually would much rather Rune to be flatlined at $5 forever, because then they can look at their P&L on the rewards and go like, Rune's pegged to $5 forever because it's so not volatile, but it makes a lot of money. So then they can allocate capital to what looks like a much lower risk, because a capital allocator doesn't like crazy principal volatility. So it should solve everything, because now the node operators have a much less volatile Rune price, and they can actually mentally, so that the yields are high because the volatility is high. If we reduce the volatility, the yields will reduce as well, because more people can participate. So anyway, it should be a massive improvement. So that's just Rune pool. The next bit will be Solana. Solana's really important. We need to do a couple of things on. We've been doing it for a long time. It was my mistake 3 years ago before the protocol got too big. I should have specced out the dual vault structures. And I remember like rain checking it with my engineer at the time. The way we did it is we built the system to have a single definition of a vault. The protocol only knows vaults as one vault key. And I knew there was going to be two keys, ECDSA and EDSA. But I was like, let's just do it later. And I might have pitched it to my engineer at the time, but he was like, look, it's not an issue for now. Let's do it later. But unfortunately, because of the way we created the vault system in the structure, we have to hard fork the protocol to make it understand that there could be two types of vaults now. So it's actually a massive change, and it would have been far easier done like 3 or 4 years ago, which I'm kicking myself that I should have pushed it back a bit harder. But what can you do? That's coming. That's a big lift. And then,
so what does that have to do with Solana?
Well, Solana will get us a DEX aggregation with. Sorry, I might have skipped ahead. What did I say? Rune pool, limit orders. Okay, so limit orders. We're chasing down the features of decentralized exchange. So limit orders are important. The next bit was memoless. I think you asked specifically about that. So memoless allows you to pull out your phone, or to get a quote, pull out your phone, scan a QR code, and literally send an on-chain fire and forget transaction. Boom, which is executed just like that. No memoless. It's just like fire and forget. And like, there's various ways to do it.
Is that different from the UX before, where your users needed to add a memo in order to send it?
So right now, if you need wallet integration to be able to send a memo, but a memoless will allow you to go to a website, get a quote. The website will give you a QR code. You pull out your wallet, scan it, done.
What was the Solana support that you mentioned? Is it just listing of Sol?
Yeah, so more powerful Solana aggregation across Solana, perhaps TON, perhaps L2s, because we want to establish Thorchain firming as a liquidity hub. I think that's really important for the future. Even if the liquidity isn't crazy and like huge, more people will use Thorchain if it caters for more of their needs. Like it's like the single liquidity hub. So that's really important. And that's something we're going to be working on. We're integrating IBC. We're upgrading the protocol finally to support IBC, and that's been a big lift. And it just kind of like, it was always in the back burner, and it was always never a pressing need. But now we're upgrading, and we'll get it. In fact, I've got to check with my team to see where that progress is.
Why was it not a pressing need, and why is it now a priority?
If Terra hadn't blown up, and Terra was a big IBC chain, we may have accelerated to get proper aggregation with Terra assets. But unfortunately, Terra blew up and painfully took 1/3 of Thorchain's liquidity with it. Which,
I mean, everyone was hit by the blast radius. The whole industry.
Yeah,
the whole crypto industry, not just Cosmos chain.
Even you did, I did, everyone did. Thorchain lost like $30 million of liquidity overnight. We're able to get half of it back because the protocol froze up. Anyway, but we survived. So as a result of that, in the last couple of years, we've been kind of like still battling stability and issues, like because this protocol is like so hardcore. You just have to throw yourself out there and see what comes back and tolerate a bit of chaos. And that's what we've been doing. High tolerance of chaos. But now we've kind of like got all the stability issues behind us. The protocol's been stable, churning nicely, and got everything down pat. And now our bandwidths are opening back up again. And the first thing we want to do is upgrade the state machine of our hard fork, which will give us the latest IBC, which will then allow us to do IBC DEX aggregation, which has already been inspected and implemented out right now. So it's happening. 100% it's happening.
100%. And when can people expect that to happen? What's the estimated time frame for the upgrade?
And it should be happening within a month. Like it's definitely there on the list. And like I can keep an eye on that progress. Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, by Christmas, I would like. Remember that I can't control anything. I can just campaign, and I can get in the weeds with the devs and see what's blocking them and try and help them solve it. But the upgrade, IBC aggregation, Solana aggregation, and potentially TON aggregation and L2 aggregation all by Christmas, right? That would be amazing. And then we'll have limit orders, memLS, and Rune pool. That would just be amazing to have done by Christmas and firmly establish Thorchain as the liquidity hub. And that was going to be so good. And like probably the last two features then afterwards is perps. Perpetuals are important to capture that market off centralized exchanges. And also a proper like transportable stablecoin. The Thorchain has a stablecoin already, and it works great. Right now, we don't see a need to like unleash the beast, but soon we may.
Given the architecture of Thorchain and the incentive pendulum, how are limit orders going to be enabled?
Limit orders are basically price conditional swaps. They're actually not true limit orders. A swap is a market order. You basically send your order out into the market and it gets executed for any price. A limit order says, hey, if the pool price gets to here, please execute my swap. That's it. So it's like a limit order in the old market was, hey, there's a whole bunch of like buys here. When my price meets this exact sell, then please execute it, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a spread and for no split, But the way that Thorchain works with the giant liquidity pool is when the pool gets to this price, then please stream my swap across. So that's how it works.
So it behaves like a limit order, but in effect, it's still working within the constraints of the AMM.
Yeah, there's no like order matching. It's just your swap has a price condition on it, and just execute it when we get closer. So that's really good. So yeah,
your order gets filled conditioned upon the AMM swinging a certain direction in favor of your order.
Correct. Okay. Yeah.
So you tweeted that you're attempting a merger acquisition. Can you talk about that?
Right. So Uniswap is an example of a brand that has really good domain authority, and as a result, it can achieve economies of scale and funnel users into its interfaces, its wallets, and give them swaps. However, Uniswap is an EVM swapping machine brand. I want to build a cross-chain focused brand that can capture the attention of hundreds of millions of users. It has all of the apps that you might need: desktop, mobile, Chrome extension, everything you might need. It's got customer service, fiat on-ramps, Telegram bots where you can trade. It's got the whole stack under a single unified brand. Now, I could go out and raise a lot of money to build this, or instead, I can just go out and acquire a whole bunch of projects, or merge a whole bunch of projects under friendly terms, right? So I need to create enough momentum and raise enough capital so I can go to these projects and make them an offer, right? And I have already started. I've already started raising the capital, and I've already made an acquisition that will give me the momentum. And I already have a good trajectory to pull it off, right? With liquidity and momentum, so that by Christmas, I'll have two things that these projects need: momentum and liquidity. These projects are amazing. They're amazing teams, amazing founders, amazing infrastructure. They make money. They have real users, right? However, they're all split off across millions of little different brands. They all can't afford a large marketing effort or a PR team or business dev or KOL strategy. So imagine if we took 10 plus DeFi projects, right, with their own individual token holder base, and we just merge them all together. Then we get all the infrastructure we need. We get all the TVL we need. We get hundreds of thousands of users, like millions of dollars of daily revenue. We just consolidate it, right? it'll be a very flat structure. I believe in flat structures. I'll be like the initial lead to make these offers into these projects. And if I can give them what they need momentum and liquidity. And if I can give them resources that they need to achieve that goal, but it has to be under a unified brand. That's the only way it's going to work. It has to be under a unified treasury, a unified economies of scale, a unified direction, right? So I see that as my role. I'm the person that's here to kind of unify and connect and collaborate. And I have been doing that the last 6 years. And I do have a validation that I can do that. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I need to achieve a capital momentum, capital formation, and liquidity. And then I will go to these projects under friendly terms and make them an offer. And the offer will be simple. Like, let's all join a single unified brand with a single unified direction and consolidate resources. And we can all get what we need, which is to build a giant funnel for a cross-chain liquidity hub. So wish me luck. There's a lot of things that need to happen in the right. It's like a giant multi-stage rocket launch into space. So wish me luck. I can't share too many details because it has to be sequenced correctly. I'm building in public. I'll put as much out there as possible because I want everyone to know this is not a hostile takeover. This is not me trying to just accrue a giant monopoly to just kind of onslaught and rage around in. This is actually me putting my capital, my time, and my effort and a 5-year build in public journey to actually solve the hardcore problems of why we don't have $100 billion DEX. So that's my role. And I'm in the arena. I'm putting myself out there. The universe will give me a lot of adversity. I need to wake up every day and battle it. And my operating envelope is complete failure and loss of all my time, effort, and capital to complete success, which is the $100 billion DEX. That's my operating envelope. And because I've already mentally accepted failure every single day, I wake up and go, I could fail today. I could be completely zeroed out. And I'm happy with that outcome. Then my operating envelope is much larger than, say, someone that might want to go, well, I don't want to go below 1x, but I run it like a 2x, right? So that's the operating envelope, whereas mine's here. So as a result, I can be much more resilient, tolerant of chaos, and I can maneuver way faster and just connect way better. And the build in public is important because if people can see exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, then they will gravitate to that and they will move with me. And they will want to support this direction because remember, it's an egoless direction. I know people may think I'm trying to build a massive ego brand, but I actually believe that ego can be completely stripped away. I'm building a brand and a movement that's actually completely agnostic to the individuals in it. It's actually a meme that should be highly potent and live far beyond the individual itself. That's a lot to process, but wish me luck.
Good luck to you. I would only add a caveat that I think that anything you ask the universe, it will give to you, as long as you believe in it and trust in the process.
Yeah, I mean, you have to put yourself out there, 100%. You have to believe in yourself. The universe is not an omnipotent, intelligent being. It could be in a vast sense of it, right? Because it's all vibrations. But you could say that the universe rewards tenacity, right? Like Ludwig Mises' famous book, Human Action, discusses a lot about agency and action. Like you could choose to do nothing. You could just sit here and just browse TikTok videos the whole day. But the universe isn't going to reward you at all. Or you could choose to do a lot of things, right, and tolerate a lot of failure, but the universe will reward you. I mean, it's not the universe rewarding you, but it's the state of your existence will be more rewarding.
And with that, is there any uplifting motivational message that you want to close out with, JP?
Memes and genes, baby. Memes and genes. That's your only purpose, is spread memes and genes. So you're not trying to accumulate value to die with it. Do not get out of your consumption death spiral. Like, not everyone's kind of vulnerable to the consumption death spiral. I myself found myself in a consumption death spiral, 1 or 2 years ago when I had all this wealth and whatnot. And you can easily see how you could just end up in a loop, right? And not able to escape it. And mentally, the only way to get out of that consumption death spiral, and like we all can be vulnerable to it, is to realize that our purpose here is not to accumulate things and value and sit on it and die with it, right? It's to accumulate agency and express intelligence and create highly potent memes that will stand the test of time, have a long half-life. That's legit, memes and genes. So wake up every day and contribute to the humanity's genetic repository, which is have kids, and contribute to humanity's mimetic repository, which is output, create and project. I'll leave off there. I got to catch an Uber to my next meeting. I get Sunny in my DMs right now. I love Sunny. How do we help accelerate? So again,
Thorchain osmosis.
yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. I love it. Sunny and I go way back. I mean, Sunny's a builder. I'm a builder. I respect builders. I respect people who put themselves out there. And like, it's so easy not to just exit stage left anytime and go like, it's exhausting or like, it's 24/7. It's wide. It's like, I get like, canceled or whatever. But like, it's also incredibly liberating if you're able to give yourself a long-term vision. So to see Sunny, and I've been bouncing with him for 5+ years. He's a builder and he's still building in this space. That's what I respect the most because it's actually hard to do. Right. And same with you. Like you've been hanging out in the space for 5 years plus, and you're still doing exactly
10.
what you're doing like 5 years ago. So you're a builder, right? You're consistent, right? The universe rewards your consistency. So keep doing that. I'll get back to Sunny. He wants to help me accelerate. I can help him accelerate. Let's all accelerate together.
Thorchads and osmonauts. Let's go.
So good.